Bike injuries are rising across Southern California as doctors and lawmakers sound the alarm about speed, safety, and who is riding them.
Local hospitals are reporting a sharp increase in e-bike related trauma cases, including serious head injuries and fatal crashes involving teenagers. Under California law, e-bikes are split into 3 classes based on speed and throttle use, with the fastest models requiring riders to be at least 16 and wear helmets. Our next guest says many families still don't realize how dangerous and powerful these bikes can be. Joining us now is emergency physician Melissa Rudolph from Providence St. Joseph Hospital in Orange County. You're also the medical director there for the ER. Thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So it is a problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that you're familiar with these patients who come in and they get treated for some of these injuries they've experienced on e-bikes.
Yeah, it's definitely increasing. So as we've seen the rise of just the popularity of e-bikes, especially since COVID,
Right.
so since about 2020, we're just seeing a drastic increase in the injuries that patients are presenting to the ER with as well. Some studies have shown since the past 4 years upwards of 400% increase in injuries presenting to the emergency department. And they're not settled injuries, right? It's not like falling off a bike where you get scraped knees or maybe a broken wrist. These injuries are severe and sometimes even fatal.
Because we call them e-bikes, and so parents might think that this is a bicycle that goes a little bit faster, but not really. I mean, it has a motor in it. So if we think about when we were kids and we were riding, if you were going to let a kid ride a motorcycle or a dirt bike, I mean, it's almost equivalent to that.
They are, and that's the most dangerous part of these e-bikes is really one word, speed. So standard, class 1 to class 3 e-bikes can go 20 to 28 miles per hour. And those are dangerous in and of themselves. But where it becomes really dangerous is these illegal modifications that people are doing to
And sometimes the parents are actually helping the kids soup these bikes up and make them go faster.
And they can get up to 60 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
So when you're talking about this not being just a bicycle anymore, you're absolutely correct. They're motorcycles, right? They're motor vehicles at this point, and we're truly seeing the shift of these injuries, not just bicycle injuries. They're looking like motorcycle injuries when they present to the ERs or trauma centers.
Tell us the types of injuries that you're seeing. I mean, without getting into too much graphic detail, I imagine it's pretty severe.
Well, they look like motorcycle injuries. So we're seeing head injuries, so you can get bleeding around the brain or within the brain. You can get skull fractures. You can get organ injuries, solid organ injuries, like liver lacerations, spleen lacerations, and then such things as what we call polytrauma, where you can have multiple injuries in just one patient. There was a study done out of New York that of all the electric bike injuries or trauma patients that came into their hospital, 30% had to be admitted into the intensive care unit, which just shows how serious and kind of life-threatening these injuries truly can be.
I mean, being a doctor yourself, you also have a teenager at home. What do you advise parents if they're looking into getting their kid an e-bike?
Yeah, there's a couple different factors. Number one, safety. So there actually are a lot of education courses out there, and look for one for your child. So you can go on the CHP website. They have actually a course you can take online for safety. You can also call your local police department. They have safety classes sometimes that they can attend in person. And then, ways to protect your child themselves is make sure they're wearing a helmet. So 40% of cases that presented to Rady's Chalk Hospital
and that's the trauma center.
Which is a trauma center. 40% of kids weren't wearing helmets.
Oh my goodness.
So get your child a helmet. Make sure it's the right helmet. Sometimes you actually need a safer helmet, a motorcycle helmet, depending on the speed.
I was going to say, how do you know if it's the right helmet for one of these bikes?
So you can look up online. It'll tell you exactly with this bike and this speed, this is the type of helmet you should be getting. And then lastly, make sure it fits, right? If the helmet doesn't stay on when the accident happens, the brain isn't protected. So, and then just be aware if they're doing illegal modifications. Don't let it happen, because that's speed equals serious injury.
It comes down to these bicycles that have the throttles in them, right? So there's the e-bikes where it's pedal assist and you're going a little bit faster, and we say 20, and 20 miles per hour is still pretty fast if you're riding on a bike, especially if you don't have a helmet. But I had one, and literally, I mean, if you throttled it and went downhill, I mean, we were going easily over 30 miles per hour, maybe more.
Yeah.
So the type of bike that you're getting or any of the modifications is also super key.
Yeah, just keep an eye out and know what's happening to the bike. I think that's the key piece as a parent. You know, just at our Providence hospitals in Orange County, we saw over 600 cases of e-bike injuries last year.
Oh my goodness.
From our 4 hospitals in the Orange County area.
That's a lot.
And it's a lot. And there's a lot of them are very serious, and we want to keep our kids out of the ER, out of the ICU, out of these more serious injuries. So you just have to be aware of what's happening.
So you noticed an uptick when? Starting during COVID?
So I would say we have numbers from around 2020 where the number of e-bike accidents, just because there weren't many e-bikes out there, was in the teens in a year. And now we're up, like we just talked about, in the hundreds at one facility. Multiple hundreds across all our facilities.
And it's not even just street related. Sometimes these bikes will go on terrain that's not intended for a bike to go on.
Yeah.
Hills and sidewalks sometimes.
Yes. So when we see them on sidewalks, you know, that's where we're actually starting to see some danger in pedestrian injuries. Unfortunately, we recently had a fatal injury of a pedestrian in Orange County. So it's truly about teaching those who are riding the spatial awareness, which if you think, a lot of these children that are riding haven't driven a car before, so they don't understand how to navigate on the streets or navigate or brake appropriately. And so these injuries can just be really severe, both to the rider along with those around them.
Yeah.
I imagine it's kind of similar to scooters and e-scooters. It's probably the same types of issues that you deal with them as well.
It can be. We just didn't, I don't think, see the uptick in the number of scooters to see this drastic kind of community problem that we're seeing or concern, because the ability to get an e-bike is just, and the popularity is skyrocketing.
It's very easy despite how expensive they are too.
I saw that a 13-year-old just died in Garden Grove.
They did.
So sad, so young. Yeah.
Right.
And they're changing. I mean, some of these are off-road electric vehicles, but similar to the point of they're illegally modified, they're going speeds that are just not safe.
All right.
Well, you heard it from her. She's seeing this firsthand. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You just got to be careful about it, be responsible about it. If you can treat this the same way that you treat driving a car, then maybe people will take it a bit more seriously.
Right.
Dr. Melissa Rudolph, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.
Appreciate it.